I was dying, and I knew it. I didn't think I was likely to make it till morning. So I lay in my hospital bed and waited for the Grim Reaper to come and take me away. Hopefully, somewhere warm, but not too warm, if you know what I mean. And as I lay in the ICU, I reflected on my checkered life and decided I'd been a fool. A stooge. A stooge. A real stooge, I kept whispering. A real stooge. I had slowly drifted into the twilight state between consciousness and sleep when a harsh voice commanded, "Hey, you! Wake up and go to sleep!" A figure stood in the doorway. But it was not the Grim Reaper. Instead, it was a small, dapper man with a truculent expression and a bowl haircut. It was Mean Moe. Mean Moe, head stooge of the Stooges 3. He clumped up to the side of my bed and in a voice that was way too loud demanded, "What's the matter with you?" I had trouble breathing, but still managed to wheeze out a shh. The ICU was supposed to be quiet, eh? Not that it mattered to Mean Moe. "Why, you? Speak up, you imbecile, you lame brain, you knucklehead. Speak up before I tear your tonsils out. I ought to mash you like a potato." I protested and almost said, "I resemble that remark," only to correct myself and say, "I resemble that remark." Hey, wait a minute. "Oh, a wise guy, eh? What's the big idea here? Explain it to me." But when I tried, Moe cut me off with, "That's enough. We're getting no place fast," Moe barked before thrusting his fist into my face. "Say that?" Of course I saw it, and of course I slapped his fist away, only for it to windmill around and bop me on the top of my head. "Ow! That hurt!" I cried. Moe leaned over towards me, and I could smell the tobacco on his breath. It struck me that he was a fairly handsome man, or would have been if not for that ridiculous Beatles haircut. But then again, the lighting was bad. "Pick out 2, Moe ordered. "No, Moe, no," I protested. "Pick out 2. So what could I do? I picked out 2 and he poked me in both eyes. And the dude needed to trim his nails. "Ow! I'm losing my mind," I cried. "Dying, eh?" Moe said. I might not make it till morning," I managed to choke out. "Well, if you're dying, take your time, but hurry up." This was too much. Where was the Grim Reaper to make Moe's hair stand on end? "I don't think that's very nice," I protested. "Oh, so you're an intelligent imbecile," Moe cracked. "Every time you think, you weaken the nation." I'd had it enough and shouted, or at least as loud as I could shout, "Recede! Recede!" "Recede!" Moe shouted back. "Remind me to murder you later." Then, like a ballerina, okay, maybe not, Moe turned on his heel and stomped his way to the door. He had been an unpleasant visitor, and I should have been glad. But instead I felt a pang of deep sorrow, intensified by my impending death. The Stooges had been part of my life, all my life, since I'd been a little kid. And whether this was a dream or a hallucination, I couldn't bear to see it end like this. I had lost many lifelong friends, and this felt like I was losing yet another. As he reached the door, Moe turned to look at me in disgust, and I sang out, "Moe, Moe, don't go. Come back, Moe. Come back, Moe. Come back, Moe. Come back." "How do you expect me to work here?" "I'm dying, Moe. Please say you'll be back. Please say you'll be back." Moe turned and looked at me, and through the gloom I could see his harsh face. His harsh face was lit by a smile. "Oh, we'll be back," he said, and raising his arm in salute, he solemnly intoned, "For duty and humanity." And then he was gone. And I began to laugh. Okay, I began to wheeze, wheeze and cough. But eventually I managed to produce a chuckle. You might call it a croak, but I say it was a chuckle. A chuckle. I must have slept then. Oh my. I must have slept then, and when I awoke, it was daylight and Nurse Jeannie was in the room. "Did you sleep well?" she hiccuped. Poor girl had a permanent case of the hiccups. "I think so, but I had strange dreams. If it was a dream." Oh, this has got to stop. "I wondered if Moe would come back." Enough of these hiccups. To be continued. I was dying, and I knew I was dying and hallucinating. I even had dreamed I'd suffered a rather unpleasant visit from Mean Moe, leader of the Three Stooges. At least, the dream made me laugh. I even felt a bit better. But now it was the watches of the night, the wee small hours of the morning, and I lay once again in my bed in the ICU, waiting for the Grim Reaper, to come and take me away. Suddenly, a man burst into the room crying, "I can't see! I can't see!" "What's wrong?" I croaked. And then, in a voice like a little kid, the guy squealed, "I've got my eyes closed." And in that instant, I realized I was confronted by Larry of the Three Stooges. He stumbled into the room, a short, well-dressed man with a small, beaky nose, a small, beak-like nose, and a Bozo the Clown hairstyle. Tufts of shaggy, unruly hair sprouting from both sides of his bald head, like epaulets or rabbit ears. And when I say stumbled, I mean stumbled, for he stumbled across the room and crashed into my hospital bed. "I'm sorry, Moe. It was an accident," he stammered. "I'm not Moe," I stammered back. I can't see. "I know, you've got your eyes closed," I said in disgust. "Oh, a wise guy, eh?" Larry retorted as he looked around my dark little room before adding, "This is a nice place. It reminds me of the reform school." I still had trouble breathing, but I finally managed to whisper, "Hey, you're Larry, right? Larry, the middle stooge." "Well, I don't want to say yes, but I can't say no. Moe was here last night. He wasn't very nice," I complained. "Leave him alone. I always liked you guys from the time I was a kid. Why do you come torment me?" "Hey, where's your dignity?" Larry said in a loud voice. "We feel we have a duty to posterior to help you survive." "Survive? You guys are killing me." "What a brain," Larry said, shaking his bozo do. "We're trying to make you laugh. Laughter is the best medicine." "Well, you can cut the clownin'." "Hey, cut the clownin'. That's one of my lines," Larry said, a tad peevishly. "Want to hear a joke?" he continued, and before I could protest he began, "A mouse is traveling with the elephants in a circus train. Well, the train starts jostling, so the mouse says to the elephants, 'Hey, fellas, let's be careful not to step on each other's toes.' Ain't that a dilly?" And with that, he brought his fist down on my stomach, knocking the wind out of me. Instinctively, I grabbed his nose and gave the snotty tip a little twist. "Oh, my bugle," Larry cried. "My poor, sweet, lovable little bugle." I was tempted to rip out a clump of his bozo hair, but such an action would have been too much like me and Moe, so instead I simply said, "It's been swell seeing you, Larry. Really, really fine, but I think you should probably go now. I'll leave when I'm ready." "And are you ready yet?" "Yeah, I'm ready." And with that, this strange little man with his bugle nose and bozo hairstyle scampered towards the door and had his hand on the knob when I softly called, "Thanks for coming, Larry." "Will you be coming back?" I asked, with no small degree of apprehension, of trepidation. The stooge who was Larry turned to look back at me, and I saw him smile. "Oh, we'll be back," he crooned, and raising his arm in salute, he shouted, "For duty and humanity." And then he was gone. And I began to laugh, to guffaw, and soon began to splutter and choke, and then the nurses were in the room, and I kept saying, I'm fine. And since I was the patient, they ignored me. But they did eventually give me something to knock me out. When I woke up in the morning, sunlight was streaming into my room, and I actually felt fine. And I began to wonder, Was I going to live? And I also wondered, what would happen tonight? Curly? Shemp? I had been lying in the ICU, on the edge of death, and not expected to live. But lately I'd begun to rally and to feel much better. The doctors didn't understand it, but I knew why. For the previous 2 nights, I'd had vivid dreams, almost hallucinations, vivid dreams of being visited by Moe Howard and Larry Fine of the famous Three Stooges. And as I lay in the darkness, wide awake, I was tingling with anticipation as to what might happen tonight. Would it be Curly? Curly or Shemp? In truth, I could hardly wait. Eventually, I must have dozed off, but at around 3 a.m. I woke with a start. A short, stocky man with a balloon face and a crew cut stood in the doorway, looking around with an expression of total bewilderment. Putting his hand over his heart, he said in a loud voice, "I shoot an arrow into the air. Where it lands, I do not care. I get my arrows wholesale." And, as if that wasn't noisy enough, he began to sing in a loud falsetto. "She was bred in old Kentucky, but she's only a crumb up here. She's knock-kneed and double-jointed, with a cauliflower ear. Someday we shall be married, and if vegetables get too dear, I'll cut myself a nice big slice of her cauliflower ear, 'cause that ain't rationed." I tried to tell him to be quiet, only to cough and sputter. Curly's round moon face hung in the darkness above my hospital bed, as he loudly said in his Brooklyn accent, "Come on, kid, speak to me. Say a few syllables." "Not so loud," I hissed. "Those aren't the right syllables." Curly took a quick look around my darkened room, then said, "Well, being as there's no other place around the place, I reckon this must be the place, I reckon." I told him, "This is the ICU, Curly." "Yeah, well, I see you too. But it's kind of dark in here. Maybe there's ghosts." "Shh," I shushed. "This is the intensive care unit, Curly. You fellows are helping me by cheering me up, but I'm still not sure I'm going to make it." "Ah, you should try to be more positive." That's easy for you to say," I said. "Ah, you should try to be more positive." I gave up, but he proceeded to clarify, "I think. I'm positive about the negative, but a little negative about the positive." I raised my hands in disgust, which Curly interpreted as me trying to hit him, which would be a reasonable assumption for a member of the Stooges. "Don't you dare hit me in the head. You know I'm not normal." I tried again. "What I'm trying to say is that I'm not sure I'm going to make it out of here alive." "Well, if at first you don't succeed, keep on sucking till you do succeed." I guess that was Curly being positive about the negative, but it came across as a little negative about the... never mind. Instead, I simply said, "Curly, every time you think, you weaken the nation." "Hey, that's Moe's line." I decided to try a different tact. Flattery. "Curly, I always thought you were a great comedian." My comments seemed to make Curly abashed, or at least bashful. Finally he said, "It was a simple job for simple people." I was so sorry when I learned you had to quit because you'd had a stroke. Oh, well, I got sick of the dough and thought I'd go on the loaf. Oh, really? And here I was, thinking you were a poor victim of circumstance. Circumstance. Oh, a wise guy, Curly complained. That's my line, circumstance, and my accent. And then the thing I had been... Oh, excuse me. And then the thing I had been fearing happened. On the wall of my room was a picture, a realistic-looking painting of a mouse staring at a piece of cheese. Now I knew from the Stooges' 1935 short, Horses' Collars, that the sight of a mouse would drive Curly crazy, or crazier than normal, and that the only way to calm him was to feed him some cheese. Why did Curly react that way? Well, apparently his father had been a rat. Ha ha. I was hoping Curly wouldn't spot the picture, but he did. He stiffened, eyes bulging out of his moon face as he began to bawl, "Moe, Larry, cheese! Moe, Larry, cheese!" Did I have any cheese? I had gotten one of those crappy cheese and almond snack packs at lunchtime, but it had been taken away. I lay helpless as Curly fell to the floor and spun around in a circle before leaping up and doing the Curly shuffle all the way to the door, bursting from the room screaming, "Moe, Larry, cheese! Moe, Larry, cheese! Woo, 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 woo!" Wow. He hadn't even stopped to raise his arm and intone, "For duty and humanity," as both Moe and Larry had done. Did this mean my nocturnal visits were over? Suddenly, Nurse Jeannie, the one with the hiccups, was in the room simpering, "What's going on in here?" "Why, nothing, Nurse Jeannie. In fact," gosh, now I'm doing it. "In fact, you woke me up. I tried to sound innocent and failed miserably." She took a quick look around the room, but there was no sign of my nocturnal visitor. So, after pausing to tuck my blanket up under my chin, she said, "Now get some sleep." I let her get as far as the door before I said, "Nyuk, nyuk, nyuk." She paused in the doorway for a moment, then went out, and I had to wonder, oh no, oh my gosh, did she think I'd said a different word? Yikes. I began to laugh, but as I did, I began to wonder if Curly's abrupt departure meant that the Stooges' visitations were over, or would Shemp appear after all? I had been lying in the intensive care unit, awaiting death. But not only was I still alive, I had begun to rally, to recover. For now, I had a reason to live. You see, during the wee hours of the past 3 nights, I had been visited each night by a different member of the famous 3 Stooges, Moe, Larry, and Curly. And tonight, I was hoping for a visit from Shemp. In fact, I could hardly wait, but I still fell asleep. I awoke with a bang, or at least with a a short, homely man with a weather-beaten face and greasy black hair parted in the middle had stumbled into my darkened room He wore a dark pinstripe suit. He was Shemp Howard. "Hey, Moe! Hey, Larry!" he yelled in a voice that could wake the dead. Or the nearly dead. Like me. "Shh!" I croaked. "What? You want me to sing like a bird?" he said. "That's right. Give me the bird," I said. And damn it all, he did. As there was no point in trying to shush him, I decided to ask him, in a more normal tone of voice, what time it was. "Oh, Shempy! Whatty? What does your watch say?" I said. "Oh, it don't say nothing. It goes tick, tick, tick." "No, I mean, what time is it right now?" "Right now." Now my voice was starting to rise. "Hold your horses," he said, as he rolled up both sleeves, revealing a myriad of wristwatches. "Why do you have all those watches?" I said in astonishment. "Are they synchronized?" "Oh no, they're no good underwater." I mean, do they all tell the same time?" "Nope." "Then how can you tell the time if they're all different?" Pointing at one, he said, "I look at this one and then add 10 minutes. Then I look at this one and subtract 20 minutes. And that's how you tell the time?" By way of answer, Shemp shook his greasy head and pulled out a large pocket watch from his vest pocket. "It's 3:43 a.m. I tried a different tact. "Oh, Shemp, I've been waiting ever so long for you to come by." That just seemed to annoy him. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither was Syracuse. Shemp looked around my darkened room with a bemused expression on his ugly kisser. "What is this place?" he said. "It's the intensive care unit." "It's tremendous! It's colossal! It's putrid!" "I'm so happy to see you, Shemp," I said. "Please have a seat." "Don't mind if I do. Boy, are my dogs ever tired." It was hard to see in the gloom, but Shemp appeared to be fumbling with his shoes, and in a moment I heard squealing noises that sounded like the whining of puppy dogs. Shemp smacked his lips loudly. "You know, I could eat a horse," he said, staring at me with a glint in his eyes. "Well, don't look at me," I protested. "I said a horse, not a jackass." In my own self-defense, I reported, "You're one to talk, Shemp." "Oh, yeah? What do you think I am? A squirrel?" "Nah, your ears are too short." "You got anything to drink? Something distilled yesterday? Like Old Panther or Old Homicide? Any Panther beer? Any Three Stooges beer?" Sorry, I said. "I don't even have any water or apple juice." "You know, there's 1,000 reasons why I shouldn't drink, but I can't think of one now," Shemp said, before asking me, "Can drinking cure a red nose?" I didn't know, but I suggested, "Well, you could keep drinking till it turns blue." But at that moment I heard a noise out in the hallway. A hiccup. Nurse Jeannie was on her night rounds and would soon be here to check on me. "Shemp," I whispered, "you've got to get out of here. I hear the hiccups approaching." I did not anticipate his reaction. Shemp cried before he executed an amazing series of backflips, crashing onto the floor and spinning around in a circle, a la Curly. Nurse Jeannie came sputtering and hiccuping into the room as Shemp danced around her, only pausing in the doorway to announce in his foghorn voice, "So long, handsome Harold. A couple of pip-pips, a little barbecue, and what have you." And then he was gone. Nurse Jeannie was so outraged, all she could do was hiccup. "Visiting hours are over." I couldn't answer. I was too busy laughing. "Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard." I'd been in the intensive care unit for months, on death's door, but now I was well again and ready to go home. But they wouldn't let me go. Dr. Dent, Dr. Blystone, and Dr. Van Zant didn't believe I'd recovered. I was supposed to be sick, and so by Crom, I was going to stay sick and die. But I was now a well man. I'd laughed myself back to health. What happened was this. I was at my lowest ebb and ready to cash in my chips when I received a series of nocturnal visitations from Stooges. First Moe Howard, then Larry Fine, and then Moe's bros, Curly and Shemp. Eventually, Joe Besser, "Oh, you," and Curly Joe DeRita showed up, leading to a tsunami of visits from the other kings of classic comedy. Stan and Ollie, Bud and Lou, Harpo, Chico and Groucho, then the pantheon of greats, Chaplin, Keaton, Harold Lloyd, and Harry Langdon. I was even visited by such forgotten talents as Larry Seaman, Billy Bevan. As a result, I wound up laughing all night and laughing my way back to health. The laughter drove Nurse Jeannie, the hiccup queen, to distraction, and after a particularly raucous night, she unleashed a loud belch and collapsed into a nervous breakdown. But when I tried to explain this to the doctors, the three wise men, they wouldn't listen. Dr. Dent just shook his head. Dr. Blystone growled, "So you think you're well enough to go home, do you?" While Dr. Van Zant said, "You'll be lucky to live until morning." Who knows? Who knows how this impasse might have ended? For at that precise moment, for duty and humanity, three young men dressed as interns had burst into the room. Moe Howard, Larry Fine, and Moe's bro Curly. The men in black. "You sent for us, Captain?" Moe said to me. "These doctors won't let me go home," I complained. "Well, how do you find the patient, Doctor?" Dent asked Moe. "I usually find him under the bed." "Under the bed," growled Blystone. "All right, up on the chandelier," Larry answered. No, said Van Zant. "What do you intend to do for him?" "Nothing," said Curly. "What did he ever do for us?" "He can't live till morning," Blystone said. "He's in a coma." "No, he ain't," Curly said. "He's in a bed." "Let me see that thing," Moe said, grabbing that thing from Dent. But before he could put it to my chest to listen to my heart, Larry grabbed the end and began to croon, "Boo boo boo boo, boo 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 boo, boo 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 boo." Loud smacking of heads then occurred. "Gentlemen," Dent admonished, to which Doctors Howard and Fine said, "Who came in?" Van Zant scoffed. "What do you know of medicine?" We graduated with the highest temperatures in our class. If you're doctors, Van Zandt continued, how would you propose to treat this patient? We'll plug him and see if he's ripe, they said in unison. Now, wait a minute, I protested. But they were doctors, so they didn't pay any attention to me, the patient. I would make an incision here, Moe said, drawing a line across my stomach. And I would make an insertion here, Curly said, turning me over, and ouch! Well, you never mind what he did. Why, you'd quarter the poor man like an apple, Dent said in disgust. That's a pippin. Oh, I know what a pippin is, Curly said. What's a pippin? Moe asked. It's an apple with the skin on the inside, Curly answered primly. And have you ever seen an apple with the skin on the inside? Larry asked. Sure I have, Curly said. Where? Everyone asked. Why, in homemade apple pie. And then, miraculously, out of nowhere, 3 apple pies, with whipped cream but no cheese, came sailing through the air to strike Doctors Dent, Blystone, and Van Zandt right in the kisser. There, kissers. Anesthetic, yelled Moe. Anesthetic, yelled Larry. Anesthetic, yelled Curly, as each stooge produced a mallet, which they then used to bop Doctors Dent, Blystone, and Van Zandt right on their noggins, knocking them out. Doctors, Larry announced, forget incisions and insertions. I would make an extraction here. And with that they pulled me from my bed and dragged me into the hall as the PA thundered, Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard. Out in the hall, they threw me on a gurney, jumped aboard, and we all went sailing down the hall and out a side door as the Stooges yelled, For duty and humanity. Too bad we didn't see the oncoming garbage truck. Ouch. Well, I'm back in the ICU again. Back in the ICU again. Talk about adding insult to injury. A garbage truck. The moral of the story? Laughter is the best medicine. If this is your first visit to my channel, please consider subscribing. My name is Warren, and I write and tell original ghost stories and original horror stories, featuring such cryptids as the Night Floaters, werewolves, and the Black-Eyed Children. So again, please consider subscribing. Please help me to reach my goal of 2,500 subs. Till midnight. Nyuk, nyuk, nyuk.